Canada, what's going on, bro? Carter, you there? Yeah, I'm here. Can you not hear me? Hello? Yeah, I can. Sweet. What's going on, Ken? Is that a knock? Yeah. I have to go to school soon. Suck. Should have went later. They had like another second and a half. I should have just went so that I could get up on the mountain better. Bully, dead. Do they have white heels? They gotta have splashes, surely. No, they're going to win, trust. We'll see. Where's Zone go? Back to Dirty. Avery. DeQuinted. Jack. Damage threshold. There's no surge, I don't think. I'm gonna say that I reckon. How much maths do they have? 50. It's got 190 AR. Depending where this zone goes, these will. If this zone goes back up the mountain, they're gonna win this game easy. Everyone's dead. Medkit. That sucked. That was way too early. Skittles might get a kill here. Oh, he went down. What happened to Acorn? He gotta still be up, isn't he? Yeah, zone goes back up a mountain. I think. Jack and that alien dies. Yeah. Yeah, he's already dead. But this goes back up a mountain, so Acorn's gonna win. They can't get up. Unless they've thrown on height and fallen off. But they had so much stuff. Yeah, see, Acorn's still all the way up the mountain. That's so free. Yeah, this half plug wins if they hold. Yeah. So who's this go? Wow. Aussie Antics should still be here. And so they got these weirdos. We can't hear what they're saying all the game. Yeah, right. Hold on. I'll try and fix that. Just give me a second.
They have the freedom again to kind of, utilize everything in their POI and then go from that point onwards. It makes a massive difference, hence the 11 eliminations and the victory royale as well. So we'll see what happens. Will it make a big difference to the leaderboard? We're going to find out shortly, but they're a quality trio. We expect them to get the wins every once in a while.
Dude, we gotta hope that this can happen. We gotta get the back-to-back Royal Flush, but first we gotta talk about these teams on the bubble, Vivid.
Yeah, basically this means teams that are close to that top 5 position, right? Because remember, the top 5 goes straight to the finals of this FNCS, so that's what they're kind of aiming for. Skittles, Nosh, and Nut been playing pretty well, but before that game, they were in like 6th place, around and about there. And then also another trio that we wanted to talk about, Knight, Rogue Shark, and Clarity G in like the 7th position for that game. So very close for both of these trios to making it into that top 5. So that game right there, I saw both trios alive in the end game. Skittles we saw there with an early med kit to try to squeeze out as many placement points as he could. And then Rogue Shark, Clarity, and Knight. Knight being the last one alive on that trio. He was looking like he was put in some work, but ended up getting taken down by the high ground team. So they had a good game, which is good, but I think it's still going to be down to this game 6 for both of them to see if they can make it into the top 5.
Oh my goodness, look at this. I mean,
never mind.
Once again, Smite, Twix, and Tetro stay in first position. 100 placement points, triple figures for those guys. 23 eliminations, still at 146 points, but so close. We've just been talking about them. Knight, Shark, and Clarity on their tails, hot on their tails. 3 points away now with 143 points, which is exceptional work. I would see Skittles, Nosh, and Nut there. We also featured. We were talking about these guys being bubble teams. They are now in the top 5. At this point, if this was it now, they would have qualified. But there is still one game left to play for. But let's look at the bubble teams now. 7th and 8th place, you have Mega, Rokin, and Dubs, who featured those earlier on. Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwood, the team that I chose earlier on, who are, we haven't talked about too much, but that have been there or thereabouts all day long here. But you can see everyone in the top 10 now reaching triple digits in their points tally there, Vivid. It's very competitive. And as with all things, it comes down to the last game.
Yeah, and if you look at this, the team in 3rd place has 130 points. 4th place, 128 points. 5th place, 127 points. So there is a lot of room for those teams up there to move, which means that the gap between 5th and 6th isn't at large, right? Like that team.
Because they tied with someone, but they had like a high.
And again, we're going to take a look at Knight, Rogue Shark, and Clarity for the spotlight here. Events together, 27. These guys have been together forever. You know what I mean? They know how to play with each other. For a little while there, Clarity was actually replaced with AV, who was doing pretty well earlier during this session. But Clarity G is back on the trio. They have 25 elims, 17 of those being against the top 10. And then as you can see here, low ground elims 14. So these guys seem to be favoring the low ground. And when you have teams like Sented's team absent, since they're already in finals, it's a great opportunity for this trio to shine because they are good at low ground as well.
Guys, only a few more seconds here. We got one game left here in NA East. Remember, it's the top 5 trios that will auto-qualify to finals starting next Saturday. And of course, everyone else is trying to play for series points. So even if they don't come in that top 5, coming in even top 10 will make a major difference. This is it, though. One last time on the battle bus out of NA East. So we're kicking it back over to Reese and Necra. Bring us on home.
Points. So even if you don't like qualify straight in, you can still
all right. It all comes down to this. 5 games down. Top 5 is where it counts to qualify through straight to the finals, and 1 game left remaining. We've seen ups, we've seen downs, we've seen wins from highs, wins from lows, and it's all gonna come down to this final match.
Oh yeah, it is game number 6. I'm so ready to see which 5 teams are going to be moving straight to the finals, and which teams are going to be grabbing up those series points in order to play in future rounds of competition. Let's take a look at Clarity, Rogue Shark, and Knight right now, which are super hot on the tails of our first place duo, Smite, Twix, and Tetro, trailing only 3 points behind right now. Obviously going to go ahead and take this drop spot, loot up as much as they can, but I think that this last game is really going to shake up the standings.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many teams with the potential to jump into the top 5. Like, that cutoff right now is AV, Deemer, and Edan, who are currently sitting on 127 points. Underneath that, 7-point difference, right? You can see on the far left, then it starts to go further down as the leaderboard comes up from there on out. But in the feed, we just see Smite actually go down. Our first place team has actually just been picked up in the elimination feed. I'm not sure if there's a full trio that went down, but Smite himself ended up going down, which is a big shake-up so far for the entire leaderboard.
Yeah, especially when they've been on the top of the leaderboard basically the entire day. That could be a huge game changer for any of the teams trying to sneak into that top 5, especially with how close everybody is in the top 10 of the standings. Ooh, that's gonna be really interesting to see. We're gonna hop on board now with Dequented and his teammates here, as they're just gonna go ahead and do some of their own early game stuff. Trying to grab as many builds and materials as possible. Looks like they might need to grab some shields here, and they're also not alone.
I just killed it
at the same time. We've seen this fight in one of the previous matches. We did see Dequented, Zvexy, and Zemo end up coming out on top of that fight. They seem to be looking for a disengage. Risky Reels is not a place that you can split, but Zemo actually is a bit split off from the rest of his team, and now down to 1 HP is Colazo, Lazarpi, and Trashy actually pushes in. It's not XNB's team who is here, so this is the team from Corny who's managed to push their way in and pick up an easy elimination onto Zemo. Lazar now spraying onto Zvexy and Dequented as they disengage as the shakedown comes out from Colazo at the same time. So I do not see this working too well for Zvexy as a duo, but for Trashy's team, that's a very easy elimination for them.
Oh, absolutely. Trashy and his team have been really good at just trying to find those opportunities where maybe players are trying to disengage, or teams. You know, we saw that huge play where someone was going for the reboot and Trashy comes in and was just like, no, I don't think so, Kane. You're not getting back into this game.
Yeah. But maybe this game, you know, we've seen them try to reboot repeatedly and it's not worked any time. So maybe this one will end up happening.
Time's
But
the charm, you know.
It's a fight we've not seen in a while, but all the way back when we did see it wasn't very good either. It didn't work out so well. This is one that ended up deep into the storm right now with Nani using the boat to destroy all the builds from Nerfus and actually pick up elimination with the boat, which I have not seen in a long time. Wow. Or was that actually? That was actually Dusky coming around to get the flank. I take that back. I was thinking that was the boat managing to pick him up, but there the shakedown will come on through. Trying to figure out where your teammates are here, and for Quanti, man, he's gonna have to figure out what he's gonna do here.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting position for them. I think they will be able to group up, but we're also going to go back and hop on board with a Trashy, Colazo, and Lazar are going to be doing here. They're just kind of on the east side of the river right now. Just playing it super safe. They will have to make a bit of a rotate in, but I think that this is really smart. Just try to get up onto the road, get a little bit more of those vantage points and sight lines to make sure that they're able to cover all of their angles so far.
Because that was their card.
Yeah, I think for them, they were 20th coming into this.
The way that people
so
are going this game, it's not
in order for them to
No,
qualify
these guys
and
are
place
just-
top 5, they will need a victory royale, which will net them 30 points, which will put them up to 88, and 30 eliminations. So, you started them off being aggressive here. They got 3. Got a 10x that. It's doable, but not likely. Well, that's the way I'll put it.
Okay. I respect it.
Respect the grind, yeah.
Yeah, I respect the grind. Twix and Tetro, though, still playing as a duo right now, as they did lose Smite very early on in this game. You can see them trying to make their way across the landscape. As we head over to Retail Row and just see kind of what's going on over here, taking a look at Voil, Spade, and Accept. Looks like they have a really nice idea of how to grab some eliminations here. You can see how spread out they are. Looking at the defending team of Scoped, Blake, and Magnolia, you might see a little bit of aggression come through, but it also depends on what the material situation kind of looks like for both of these teams.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's about to dwindle rather rapidly as the
they're gonna have to start.
The gas gang comes out and the fire is going to start to spread through all those wood builds that they had there, but it seems like they managed to replace them with hard materials at this point. But given Boyle has such little amount of ammunition, I'm guessing that he's been spraying at this for quite some time, which would suggest that Magnolia's team inside does have very low materials still, unless they've done let's just somehow managed to get a ton before they started. But for Magnolia's team who end up switching this drop spot, it's not necessarily worked out for them so far, right? What was that, 13th last game they placed with 4 elims, so overall, like, this team's not looked super strong today, not managing to make it kind of into a top 10 in any of the games, and this fight's definitely not going to help.
No, I don't think it's going to either. We might see a disengage there, but we are going to take a look at where some action is happening on Believer Beach. We've got Joji and his team right now that are a little bit on the low ground, as they are kind of flanked by Bizzle and Nyx and not Panda at the moment. This is gonna be super dicey, especially as Joji gets moved in on.
It is indeed. Knifer's going to connect some shots. Joji gets picked up. Donnie's still left here down below with some good HP. The 70 white tag comes out from Knifer, and no shots are exchanged at the same time. And Knifer goes to that AR spray, the SMG spray, sorry, as Donnie drops all the way down to Joji. And it seems like he's going for the revive as Knifer's distracting the other team up above. And I think Bizzle's teams ended up kind of dipping out and disengaging here as they get the revive off. Still plenty of HP, some extra heals left, and yeah, not Panda's in the car. He's had enough of this.
Yeah. Just gonna go ahead and get out of the way, especially knowing that Knifer, Donnie, and Joji right now, they've got a lot of ground to cover, especially knowing how far away from the zone they are. Taking a look at Nut as well, just trying to get away. It looks like they're going for a reboot here.
Who ended up going down?
Spicy.
Is this gonna be both teammates? It seems like I don't see.
But not Panda.
It's fine. I think he's behind this large crash site. If we saw this coming through, that'd be rough. But yeah, Nut has managed to get Chucky and Nosh up at the same time. So skills, sorry, I'm getting X teams all mixed up. It's too easy. These teams change every season. Every season, I tell you. But they managed to get the full reboot off deep into Storm, so hopefully they're going to manage to make a good clutch. We'll check in back with them later. But back over to Ved, Tabney, and Jays, who down on 66 points. So again, a similar team, another team who needs the 30 bomb to hit that top 5. So you're going to see a lot of these teams definitely be a lot more aggressive in this final day.
Oh, they absolutely have to. There's so much room for movement, but also there isn't. Like, you definitely have to perform. You gotta put the performance points in. You gotta make sure that you are grabbing those eliminations and also making it to the end game. But depending on what happens in this last game, we really could see a huge swap up in who is actually in the top 5 of the standings. Jays right now, though, just take a couple of shots, trying to make those quick edits come through, but take a look at the angles that this opposing trio has been able to grab. Jays is so low already.
Yeah, he's down to 26 HP. Still has some heals, but now down to only wood builds. He's got that brick. I am mistaken. And
he's dead.
This fight again being long drawn out. As a third party comes in, the Jays is now picked up, and
What?
Ved and Tavernet still up with him. Hopefully be able to get the res off on this. Who Fishy alongside Aspect and Cardz. It's just going to be rolling on in, and the third or fourth party involved in this, and Ved is now picked up 2 with the player run straight into his box. Tavernet trades shots at the same time, and the spray comes out into the back of his box too. He's hitting minimum damage every single pump, but he gets traded for an almost max down
He's gonna be dead.
to 1 single HP, and he's luckily managed to escape and get away from all the pandemonium and the madness, but he's lost his teammates, he's lost his HP, so far it's not looking so good.
Oh no. That third party coming in was really, really brutal for this particular trio. At least we will be able to see a huge replenishment here, getting that big med kit heal off, as well as those small shields. Gonna be super helpful just to be able to survive towards the end game. But you also gotta make sure that there's nobody else around you at this point. And we can still see that Vert, Creo, and Furious are still looking. They know there is one more player out there that they were not able to eliminate here. So they're hunting.
They're hunting. They need the elims 2 on 95. You know, it's much more possible for them to pick up a victorial, but you know, they'll definitely still need at least double digits, I think, to be able to qualify from this as well. And this is an engagement that will definitely help, right? This is a single elimination they have so far. That player's right below them, down below here, and if they manage to get in there, that's 2 easy points to them, and they'll also get the placement point, obviously, because that player will be
He's doing a good job of getting
eliminated, and that whole team will be wiped out here. And I mean, they're just running through the box. They have a slight idea of where this player is going, but they just can't seem to catch up.
No, you're gonna have to do a little bit more. Oh gosh, they also need to get actual damage, and it looks like they're just giving up altogether.
They got no clue where he
Below the
went.
damage threshold right now as that warning does come through, so it looks like we are going to see our lonely player live to see another zone for now. But this is gonna be super, super tough. I don't think that he has a whole lot of options. And especially if that damage threshold doesn't hold for him right now, he's gonna have to find some damage somehow, and he's pretty far away at this point.
He's gonna figure out something. I think he can definitely get back and grab the reboot cards of his teammates, because luckily, you know, there are reboot vans all over at this point. From his current position right here, there is one basically right over to one basically where he's walking right now. You can see it right there. So given that there's now no one around him at this moment, like he can reboot his teammates up, get them back in, but I mean, they're spawning with nothing. They got pistols, they got 100 wood each. Like there's not much they can go for, but Tavernate's actually deciding to he's deciding just to run right past it. I think he's maybe thinking there might be a team holding him here, but I'm not really sure what the thought process is, because you could easily get the picks in, but maybe he hears something I don't. There's a vehicle rotating past there, as we just heard, so potentially another player going on to that as we move over to our top team. Smite, Tetro, and Twix managed to pick up Smite as we saw him go down in the early game, potentially shot out of the sky, and now they're in a great position. This is another catty zone. I feel like I've seen a lot of catty zones today.
This is a beautiful position to be in, especially when you've got this wonderful mountain peak to be able to build on top of, to give you so much advantage over the entire field of competition. This is really looking good for them, especially because they can kind of rotate what angle they're looking at right now. You can see Tetro's doing a fantastic job of just kind of watching every single area that is around them. You can see builds all over the place, but they won't be able to maintain this because it is outside of that caddy zone.
Yeah, it should be okay. Pretty much no one in their way if they want to hit the rotate. They're way above the threshold right now. I know because players are being really, really aggressive, so
you just spray them all day long.
A lot of damage needs to be done, and they've done a great job. They see the players being tagged in the back of the storm there. If they can get a single shot, like for me, if I'm them, I want to get a single shot off maybe, and then just rotate. Like they're 425 above. There's 5 players need to go down. Like the rotation needs to be a priority at this time, and right now they're just kind of focusing a little bit too much on this tags when they're 400 above, and you know, they don't need to go right now. So get on the rotate, boys. I think that may be the better play. I mean, I don't know. I say this. I'm not a player. I'm a guy who talks about this. But I would think that the rotation may be better. But they do actually manage to get an elimination out of it. So that's 2 points there for Smite.
Magnolia's in second or something.
It worked out.
I think it worked out okay. But you're right. I think this is the moment that Tetro has heard what you said, Reese, and they will start actually making that clean rotate into zone. They do have to give up their beautiful vantage point, but there are a lot of other places, especially when we take a look at just how much of this mountain range this zone actually covers. this could get really interesting for the last couple of zones.
Definitely could. And they're positioning themselves on this north side of the zone when a lot of these other players will too, right? You saw on the map, there are so many players that are at the north or on the west hand sides, and they're all going to be congested near Catty on this hill that they're on too. And they have an opportunity right now with the zone being barely anyone in it, right? Or they had an opportunity to get themselves deeper into the storm. So if we see Smite, Twix, and Tetro have to rotate a max distance zone and get absolutely punished because of it, like, we know the mistake that they made here. And if not, I will happily be mistaken.
Only time will tell.
Only time will
tell. But as it is the 6th game of the day, this is where every single play, every single strategy, every single elimination really, really matters. You can see quite a few of the trios are actually starting to move in. You can see like Berserk's team getting a little bit of a heads up there. Nut, Nosh, and Skittles seem to be running across the road right now.
Up, so they might get...
But yeah, the high ground is going to be incredibly important for these teams. Building on the low ground seems to not be super advantageous when you know that you have quite a bit of your sightlines blocked.
Well, at the same time, sightlines, and this is one of the most mountainous areas of the game. There's so much change in hills and landscape that...
I guess for them and for you, though, right? It kind of goes both ways.
True, it's true, right? Like, the teams who managed to make it up there are in the best spot just to spray all the way down. As we actually move to Peerball, who's got a little pre-edit play, picked up another elimination, and that zone now has pulled down to that far side, to the mountains in the center and the kind of south-hand side. So for the teams that we mentioned on that far congested side, every team that we're looking at right now, Peerball, Macwood, and Bucky, all have a long rotate to make, and this could be a rough one. Whoever's going to go first is going to determine a lot, because they're potentially the one who's going to have all sight onto them, and maybe we just see some launch pads coming out here and people popping the cheat code to the rotate and managing to make their way through. But this hill is going to definitely cause problems for a lot of players.
Yeah, it's just so much ground to have to cover, especially if you're not already on top of the mountain. Peterbot, Macwood, and Bucky right now are just kind of figuring out how they want to approach this. Whether they want to just kind of go for it. You can see really nice edits there to be able to just peek up, see what's kind of going on around them. But you can also see that Skittles, Nut, and Nosh, they're just building up the side. They want to just try to get into zone and also cover themselves as they do so. But Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwood are so far away, being on the very, very edge, as you can also say the same for Chucky, Illis, and Avery.
They got a long way to go so far. I see a lot of launch pads starting to come on out. Brutal's team up in the sky. Glepo's team too. We see Peerball, Macwood, Bucky now trying to hit the launch pad a little bit early, and I don't know if this will even take them into the zone as they see they're landing right next to another team, and it seems like they might want to get aggressive. Peerball playing pumps out, trying to pickaxe the wall, trying to replace, trying to get close, and yeah, they have to keep making that rotating. It's not Nosh and Skittles who they are rotating back past, and you see Dusky's team up on the high ground. Now that spray is starting to come out because they did not manage to get in there early enough. The second launch pad they have to use now before even moving zone, so I hope they have plenty more in their inventories. Now they managed to claim themselves a nice good layer because of that, but they have had to drain 2 launches, so I do want to see if they get a max 50-50. How are they going to rotate that? Because that, hopefully they have more pads.
I hope so too, otherwise using those so preemptively really might hurt them in the late game. But they at least have a decent position now. They're sort of towards the edge of the build, so wherever people start to move in from, they should be able to cover their angles. You can see Clarity, Rogue Shark, and Knight also in the same vicinity as them right now. And Skittles, Nut, and Nosh also pretty close by. Arius, though, and his teammate did just get eliminated, though, as they were trying to move in from the zone. Looks like Dusky and Quanzi were just waiting there for them. But really nice spread of where these trios are located at the moment.
It is indeed. They managed to evenly spread their way out the zone. We need to see where that 5th is going to pull. So who's going to struggle here with the rotate? It's pulled over down the hill. So every team is going to have to rotate in through this zone right now on that far east side. All downhill as well. As you see, Ailes picking up a bunch of eliminations. It could be critical for them. 2 more going through. That seemed to be Redox's team up above, and he, I think, potentially left as a solo over there. Neverfire still in this. Illis still in this too. A top of our top teams now ready to go in to make one of the most difficult rotates of the day to get down into that far east-hand side. You see Spike's team's actually still up and in this too, but they have been tagged up a lot. Deemer still up in the sky as well. The team who's currently 5th going into this game, so everything to play for them.
Yeah, Deemer, Eden, and AV, though, they took so much damage as they launch padded so early to try to get away and preemptively move towards the zone. They will have a little bit of time to use up some of their resources to be in top condition for when other teams start to rotate in, but you could see that launch padding so early made them a little bit of targets, especially knowing who they are and where they sit in the standings. That's definitely a trio that everybody is going to be moving after. So really nice disengage here, but AV, Eden, and Deemer are still getting shots fired at them.
And he's got no build, so AV has 0 materials left. He can't build a single tile, so Eden and Deemer are gonna have to do everything for him, or they're just gonna have to get some form of elimination. And what we do know right far is Mega, Dubs, and Rokane are out of this match, so they're gone. They're the team who was in 6th. So for AV, Deemer, and Eden, they need to do something big here. They need to be able to pop off, because we saw Ale, Suscript, and Villets, the team who was 7 points behind, pick up a ton of eliminations at the same time. So they're definitely closing that gap a little bit too. Skittles not enough. We know we're still in this, who are up above them in the leaderboard too. AV here now 25 builds. They managed to split from his teammate, but again, like, they are on the bubble. They are on the edge going into the final moving zone, and they need to be able to make a play to actually keep themselves in the qualification threshold.
Looks like Durant was also able to get an elimination onto Neverfire. As you're just taking a look at the elimination feed right now, Shark just confirming that elimination at the moment. But we also have to take a look at the fact that launch... Oh my gosh, they have so much height that AV, Eden, and Deemer have to cover right now. They're able to go into one of the middle layers as they are able to use that launch pad to just try to change locations. But they are 102 damage below the Storm Surge threshold. So AV, Eden, and Deemer need to do something fast in order to make sure that they aren't going to get taken out by the Storm Surge.
Yeah, in every single game they've got to end game, they've made a top 5 so far, and this potentially could be an altering win for them if they do manage to make it so far in a qualification. But for them, they're going to hit another launch pad, it would seem. Yes, this huge layer of verticality is crazy. Look at the amount of players who are climbing, moving all the way up this insane level as the materials slowly start to dwindle from AV's inventory. And we see the bomb. Clarity, Knight, and Rogue Shark, who were in 2nd, have been picked up to the zone. So this massive hill has picked up 3 victims that potentially may move out of qualification depending on who moves up.
Yeah, oh my gosh. You could also see from that beautiful shot we got, there's so much verticality happening right now on this mountainside. Oh my gosh, Deemer is actually going to get eliminated as well. That is that trio out of the mix. Eden, Deemer, and AV completely gone now. We're looking at the POV of Peterbot, Macwood, and Bucky as just everybody is starting to drop down super, super fast. Wow.
Well, what's really important is the AV's team went down on 142 points. So if anyone starts to climb over that 142 points, we know that they've moved down a threshold so far. So we've got to keep an eye on the points in the bomb. It's really, really important from here on out. The teams that are still in this that could potentially overtake a Suscript's team who are on 149. So they've guaranteed move up with 6 starts to come out to spray their floors. The materials dwindle onto Ale as he has 26 left. Barely any hard mats. He opens up the edit, looking for shots, peeking angles. The team starts to go back. He trades onto Macwood, picking up a...
That's a huge alien. Oh, Bucky's gone down as well. They went quality.
Massive shot, and Macwood was in 9th into this, so they needed a big game, and Ale has just put a full stop onto that match.
Yeah, oh my goodness, this is going to be super, super quick, I feel like, to deal with who's going to grab this victory royale. So we've got to keep our eyes open and focus. As we can see, Jack, Acorn, and Slacks moving through the middle layers right now. As Ale and Villains are trying their best to be able to deal with that, but Jack takes out Villains. Chris is going to get Peterbot here. And Acorn is going to confirm the elimination. Now it's just up to Suscript to try to keep the dream alive. 7 eliminations to this trio's name.
And it pulls back.
Got 7 healers, but he's going for the medkit play. He actually managed to pick up another finish down below at the same time, whilst on height. Nosh and Nut are still in this too, and Frist is down to the low ground with Awesome and Visuals on 166. I gotta think that this has got to be the first place team right now. I've not seen anyone else higher than this, so this could be the win of the entire qualifier if they pick up a big game.
I think this could be a really, really big game for them, especially because they've been doing so well all day for this qualifier. Acorn does get eliminated, though, and that's going to send Jack out as well as Nut and Nosh. You can see them up on the high ground as Frist, Visuals, and Osp are still controlling this low ground territory.
They're still claiming what they can. Not Nosh up on the high ground. Suspect as a solo in the middle. See if he can trade the shots. He hits the 66. He's trying to do what he can with 2 HP, 1 HP, 0 HP at that moment. And it's Frist who picks him up. And the Victory Royale in the final game with Visuals and Osp. 180 points. And you've got to say that that's got to be the Victory Royale of the entire tournament. The first, the win of qualifier number 2.
Huge stuff coming out from this trio. They've been performing all day, and to also see them end on such a high note, that's got to feel so good.
It's got to feel amazing, right? You know, while we're watching these games, we see the points. It's hard to...
That's it. All done for the NA East, and I gotta go do some stuff, so I'm gonna end the stream there for now. Might watch some replays and stuff a bit later. But yeah, thanks for anyone that watched, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.